Hi everybody, it's Dara, and we are about to make a green soup. But not just any green soup, it's raw, it's vegan, it's got fiber, it's gonna give you energy. And I can't tell you how important this video is to me and it's going to be to many of you, because I'm not just going to give you a recipe for a green soup. I'm going to teach you what are the components of a green soup so that you can make it with any greens that you have and you can make it taste good. Because lately, I've been out and about and I have so many people who want to start raw, right? They hear that it's good for them, but what do they do? And I said, well, first you make a smoothie in the morning. A lot of people can make a smoothie. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna address a smoothie in another video. But there's a lot of times you can eat fruit for breakfast, you can make a smoothie for breakfast, but what about the rest of the day, right? You're traveling around, you're going to work, you're picking up the kids from school. You may not have 45 minutes to chew a salad, because it could take 45 minutes to chew the kind of salad that is going to give you enough fiber. So what I recommend is you make a fruit smoothie with greens in the morning and you wash out your container or whatever, your carafe, and you make this green soup. So you're going to need, which I don't have out, which I will pull out in a second, a high performance blender, because in order to blend these leafy greens, dark ones and strong ones like kale, and in order to blend celery down to the finest consistency, a high-performance blender will do it. And now, thanks to the NutriBullet 900, we don't have to despair about spending $450, $500 on a blender. We can get maybe for $140 at Bed Bath & Beyond, take your 20% off coupon and buy the NutriBullet 900. And I'm going to pull that one out. I need today to make a big batch of soup, so I might make it in my Vitamix, but I could easily do it in the NutriBullet. So the very first thing to think about when you're making green soup is, who is it for, right? If I'm making green soup for somebody who's been eating raw food for years, I can make it heartier. It might be a little more bitter. It can be stronger. If I'm making it for someone who's not accustomed to all that fiber and is kind of scared of greens, it's going to be much milder. There might be one piece of this. So decide who it's for. If it's for a child, if it's for somebody where you got to make it kind of creamy, you're going to put more fat in. I'm going to discuss all of the components, but first, who is it for? And then we'll adjust accordingly. How much? That's, it will last up to 3 days in the refrigerator. I keep mine in mason jars with a lid, and it stays for 3 days. So if you want to make it that morning and take it to lunch, or if you want to make a big batch of it and have it for the next couple of days, that's fine too. And the next is what to put in. Okay, so here's the thing. You want to put in organic food. That's the first thing. You want to put in organic greens. So if you find dinosaur kale, that's great. If kale is too strong for you and somebody you're serving, then use spinach. It's softer. Arugula is soft, but it's bitter. Dandelions are soft, they'll blend well, but they're bitter. So if you're using bitter, just know that's for somebody who can handle bitter, and you maybe want to offset it with some other of the components I'm going to tell you. So I'm using celery. I think I should just tell you, yeah. Okay, so as far as the greens go, kale, chard, spinach, watercress, arugula, dandelions, any greens that you can find that look vibrant to you. If for some reason you are somewhere where you're not getting organic greens, you can buy frozen spinach, frozen greens if you need to. But I like to use fresh. Usually we can find some kind of, I know Joe is here working and he told me that in the morning he uses kale that he gets from Trader Joe's. So smart. It's in a bag, it's already been washed and prepared for him. So you can do that as well. It seems to be no excuses these days. It's available a lot of places. So that's what I like to use kale. The darker it is, the more chlorophyll. People ask, where am I getting my protein? You're getting it here. There's amino acids in here, so these are the building blocks to protein. I like to use dandelion. I like to give it a little bit of bitterness. And so it's not as close as it sounds, the airplane. So dandelion is going to help us detoxify our liver. It's a good thing to add when we can. Celery is a good salt, and it just gives it an earthiness. So I'm going to go over I do want to say that I have my One True Thing green soup, so if you want to have a recipe, and it's tried and true, everybody loves it. So this is kind of to give you an idea of the things that you can put in, but if you want an exact recipe, my One True Thing green soup is really great. So the next thing that we need to have when you're making a soup is a liquid, right? So we can use water, filtered water. We want to have filtered or spring water, and you can use coconut water. If you use fresh Thai coconut water, that's the best. If you buy it from the box, just know that you're getting the sweet without the living enzymes, but it's nice to use in a pinch. And you can use almond milk if you want it, or a nut seed milk. The one thing that I want to say is that someone asked me a question this morning at Whole Foods, is this almond milk box okay? And I say, well, let me look at the ingredients. If there's carrageenan in it, no, it causes inflammation. But it's not going to be bad for you if it's in a box and it doesn't have carrageenan. It's just not going to be as living as if you made the nut or seed milk yourself. So they have to do certain things to keep these things on the shelf. So it's just not living, that's all. So I told him I'd rather see you take hemp seeds, you know, a couple handfuls of hemp seeds with water, and there's your instant milk. And a handful of cashews, or you know, something else would be better. But in the meantime, that's not awful. And so we have, so those are the liquids. Then you need, in order to make greens palatable, you need a citrus. And that's it for juice for me as well. I always want to add lemon into my green juice. So as far as citrus goes, obviously lime, lemon, grapefruit. There could be some exotic ones I'm not mentioning. You can use orange. And in a pinch, you can keep apple cider vinegar in the refrigerator. So there's no excuses because you can have that. These are hardy. The kale's hardy, will stay a long time. Apple cider vinegar will do for this soup, totally. And maybe I'll show you what it looks like. It's Bragg's. They're celebrating 100 years. If you don't have this in your refrigerator, it's a good thing to have for soups and for salad dressings. So, yes, with the mother. It's really good for you. So we have that, and that covers citruses, or the brightness that we need to balance, to flavor balance. Then we need a little bit of sweet. And yes, in a savory soup, we do need a little sweetness to balance it out. So we want to use whole foods first, right? So ideally we're going to use apple and maybe even a date. Those are the first choices. The second choice for me would be maybe some other dried fruit. You could use a fig, you could use something else that's sweet, or you could use a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of agave. Agave is not held in the highest regard, but a touch of it, it's okay for me at times. And honey, but that's not vegan, so just know that. And you could use a little coconut sugar or sun-dried cane juice, just a little bit to kind of balance it out. But the whole foods are the best. And then the next you will need is a fat, right? So you would put in some hemp hearts, some hemp seeds. You could put in some cashews. I have these here. Cashews are not, you know, they're not held in the highest regard either by some circles, but in a pinch, a little handful of those, better than the alternative, right? Better than creaming something up with dairy that's been pasteurized that will do nothing more than turn into mucus in your body, basically. So a little bit of cashews would be the better choice. Macadamia nuts, avocados are my first choice, okay? So remember to add the avocado at the very end after you put in everything and blend it, because the avocado is going to fluff up your soup and make it mousse-like, and that's just not appealing. We want it kind of dense. So this goes at the end. You could use a beautiful olive oil, a cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. You could use a little bit of extra virgin coconut oil. So those are the kinds of things that will creamy up this soup. Some people, you can make it taste good without using any fats. I do that from time to time. It depends how good you are with greens, really, and where you're at. And it's really important to meet yourself wherever you're at. Don't frustrate yourself and go from like a standard American diet to a diet of just this and no fat. You're gonna fall back and go back to where you were. So it's a good idea to ease on in. ease on in. So, and then you blend it, and what happens is you can just put it in a mason jar to go. You can serve it to yourself in a bowl of soup with a cône cassé, which basically means mini diced toppings, or you could use these like carrots and chopped onion. That's something that I put in my, oh, so the one thing missing, I forgot, is the flavoring, right? So we need salt. And as far as salt goes, I need salt. Not everybody needs salt. I love the salt. Celery, if you don't want to use a sea salt or a Celtic salt or a pink Himalayan salt, which I love, you can use celery or celery salt. And so what I often do is I will make it spicy, obviously. Sometimes I like to put in fresh habanero or chili flakes or any one of the seasonings that make you happy, right? You like dill, you can put dill in here. You can put fresh dill, you could put rosemary, you could put thyme, you could put you know, curry, if you like curry. You can do all kinds of things with this. So this is your base soup, and then you can have a party with all of your spices. But mine, at minimum, I put in, I do put in garlic, and I do put in habanero. I like it to have a kick. So there we have it. And I think now I'm going to pull out a machine, one of my machines, and blend it up. And I'll show you how easy it is, how satisfying. And I promise you, if you make this every day, if you have this for a week, you're going to feel like a different person. Okay, so today I will use the NutriBullet because I'm promoting taking your food on the go. And how easy is this? Because you're basically making it in the carafe you're going to drink from later, right? So let's say you want to make a couple. You can use this one and this one. It comes with so many, so you can make as many as you want. You can make them flavored a little different, but you can make a couple batches. So that's what I'm going to do today because I want to show you how easy it is. I will chop up the celery a little bit. Maybe just use 2 pieces. And that's it, maybe 1.5. And I usually make large amounts of it. So we'll see how much actually goes in here for one serving. And you will be so happy to have this. You just break it up. And so that's kale. That's the Jacinto kale. You could use the curly. Let me get some. How much liquid you use depends on how thick you want it, how thin you want it, right? So we could just, you could put some in, then you could blend. I'm going to prep, get everything ready. As far as the lime goes, or the lemon, you can peel it and put it in. Sometimes I will wash it and put the whole thing in after I've peeled. No, I will peel. Yeah, that's what I do. I just peel off the skin and then put that in. I think. Yeah, I'm not putting, so you're having the pith and the pits and everything, and that will make it a little more bitter. If you like that, that's great. If you don't, go ahead and squeeze. But I can just have, a quarter of this lime, and it's great. Okay, so I've got my habanero. I'll just put a titch in because that's a small amount. I've got a date. I'll put one of the jewel date in, and I'll put the salt in. There's a lot of airplanes today. Okay, so in goes the date. Might be too sweet. Maybe half a date is fine. Look, you can always put in less and then add more as you go. That's the key, because a lot of times you put in a lot of strong flavor, then you've got to add more, and then you end up with just mounds of soup. So put in a little bit less than you think, because fixing things means you have to add more liquid, have to add more greens, and then you just end up too much, and then sometimes people have to dump it. I've heard of that. So this is beautiful. I think an apple is nice, but we've got the date. What fat do we want to use? We could use, say, some hemp seeds to make it creamy. A little hemp seeds, maybe a little avocado at the end. It's going to be green and beautiful. I'm known to actually add spirulina because I want it like even more green and even more protein. So that's fun to me to have it like crazy green. A bit of that. So what do you think? We have, what did we have? We had the we check our checklist, right? We've got the liquid, we've got the greens, we've got the citrus, we've got date. We have some fat, we can add more. And I put in the salt. So that's what you need. Greens, liquid, citrus, sweet, fat, and seasonings, right? 6 things to make your six. Definitely too liquidy. So now I have room, since I blended it down, to add more of the greens, right? More dandelion, more kale to thicken it up. And that will make me happy, because the more you can get in greens liquefied, the better you're going to feel. And we're not having enough fiber in our diets. That's the thing that pulls out the toxins. That's the things that make probiotics in our bellies to combat bad bacteria and bad flora. So we want this badly. So any way you can make this taste good for yourself, I don't care if you have to throw in a couple cashews, do it. And the more you eat like this, the less you crave other things. It's just the way it is. It's the truth. So this is another example of don't add too much liquid, because if you add too much liquid, you have to keep adding, so start with less water than I did. I definitely am more accustomed to the Vitamix, but this is going to be just delicious. Okay, so let's say that you decide that it is too thin, or it's too flavorful, or something like that. Watch this. Now I'm going to have 2 of these now, right? And I just add in more greens, more celery, some avocado, and I'll have enough room to make it happen. I just do love these machines. We're so lucky to have them, so that we can, before blenders would just, you'd be eating chunks, you would be drinking and then having chunks of kale to chew on, and it's just so great. We're so lucky to have this that I just say, let's really do it up. My next ebook will be coming out for soups and smoothies. It's going to be a lot of celery, but then we could put some apple in for it to be thicker. And apple's nice. Okay. I saw a label. Okay, here we go. So, wear an apron. Okay. Okay, so now that I'm tasting it, it's beautiful, and I could drink it like this. And I'm going to add some salt. I'm going to add the other piece of the date. I definitely want it spicier, so a little more of that. And actually, I want more brightness, so I'll add a little bit more of this. And it's going to be so beautiful. And it will have some of these. Wait till you see. I didn't add the onion, you could. Shallots are really nice. Like, shallots are a little milder than onions. And this is going to be really good. Just close it. Okay, so really, I'm doing this in front of you, but it's actually helpful because you can see what happens in your own kitchen. You'll be, just flavor, you'll be flavor balancing yourself, and that's the key, because not all produce is created equal. Everything's different, and if I told you to use X, Y, Z, you might use this much apple, and yours may be so much more flavorful, or you have to learn how to do it yourself. So it is this kind of thing, and that's okay. It's perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, I like to add a little bit of salt. And one more date. This is how I play. Sometimes when I'm serving my friends, I'll keep adding things while they're eating. I'm like, wait, need some crushed walnuts, need some pumpkin seeds on top. Wait, I want to add some dulse. Dulse is a nice thing. but the pieces of dulse to put on soup is nice. Not the little flakes because it'll make it fishy. I'm known to add things as people are eating. We just sprinkle, keep sprinkling. So that's what you do. We're not using a can of something in a jar of something else. We're using produce, and all of it is created in its own way, at its own time, with certain soil, with certain conditions, never going to be the same. And if you like what you did, remember it and do it again. And just learn how to make your one true thing so that you can do that all the time. Just have something to fall back on. I know if I add these components to the soup, it's going to be different each time, but it will be delicious. Okay, so basically, this is it. You just take it to go. You put the lid on and you're out the door, right? I'll put it in the cooler. I got these great coolers that I keep in the freezer. I'll show you. Okay, I just found this at Bed Bath & Beyond, and the coolers are built in the bag. So all you do is you just put this in, and you go pick up your kids, or you go to school and you go studying, or you go to work, and everyone's gonna be like, what are you drinking? And then after a little while, they'll be like, what are you drinking? Okay, what are you doing, and how can I do what you do? Because that's really what happens when you start to eat this way. Don't mind that, that you're doing something different, because eventually people will see it in the whiteness of your eyes. They'll get whiter, and the dewiness of your skin, and the shape of your body, and the spring in your step, right? And your happiness and joy about life, and your kindness. We become more kind when we're alkalized, when we have all of these greens in our body, and when we're not constipated, we're happier. So this is going to do the trick on so many levels: beauty, health, happiness, abundance. So there you go. You now know how to make your own savory soup. I love you guys. Please do make this and let me know. Make something, like right away. Make it something you do later on today or tomorrow. I will see you really soon. And obviously, get your greens on.